Exercise Malabar is a trilateral naval exercise involving the United States, Japan and India as permanent partners. Originally a bilateral exercise between India and the U.S., Japan became a permanent partner in 2015. Past non-permanent participants are Australia and Singapore. The annual Malabar series began in 1992 and includes diverse activities, ranging from fighter combat operations from aircraft carriers through maritime interdiction operations exercises. History: 3 exercises were conducted before 1998, when the Americans suspended exercises after India tested nuclear weapons. However, the U.S. renewed military contacts following the September 11 attacks when India joined President George W. Bush's campaign against international terrorism. In 2002, the exercises comprised basic passing maneuvers among naval vessels, anti-submarine exercises and replenishment at sea drills. In 2003, U.S. warships US Fitzgerald and US Chosen, U.S. submarine US Pasadena, Indian guided missile frigates INS Brahmaputra and INS Ganga, Indian submarine INS Shalkin aircraft conducted anti-submarine warfare tactics. In 2004, Malabar participants included advanced assets like the US Ball Air Foster, US Alexandria, a Los Angeles-class submarine, U.S. Navy P-3C Orion maritime patrol aircraft, and the SH-60B Seahawk Lamps MKII helicopter. This enabled both navies to engage in submarine familiarization exercises, a key capability for anti-submarine warfare collaboration. In 2005, Malabar featured the participation of the aircraft carriers US Nimitz and INS Virat. During a month of operations, U.S. and Indian forces collaborated on a wide variety of tasks ranging from a joint diving salvage operation to a 24-hour war at sea simulation, or the two forces engage in mock combat. In 2006, the US Boxer Expeditionary Strike Group, comprising 13 ships including amphibious ships, cruisers, destroyers, and the U.S. submarine US Providence as well as Marines from the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit participated in the exercise. It was the first time a U.S. Expeditionary Strike Group led the exercise. The addition of the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Midget and an Indian Coast Guard patrol ship allowed for the exchange of Coast Guard practices between nations in maritime law enforcement, anti-piracy operations, pollution control, search and rescue, and VBSS support. During the second phase, BOXESG pulled into several Indian ports, including Mumbai and Goa. The stop offered BOXESG a chance to experience Indian culture, resupply, and support a Habitat for Humanity project. The visit gave leadership a chance to discuss future Malabar exercises and interoperability between the three nations' armed forces. 2007 Malabar 2007 was the 9th Malabar exercise and was the first one to be held outside the Indian Ocean off the Japanese island of Okinawa. Besides interception and similar air combat exercises, it featured surface and anti-submarine warfare, maritime interdiction and visit board, search and seizure operations to counter piracy and other non-state acts at sea. On the 4th of September 2007, the naval exercise included 25 vessels from India, the United States, Japan, Australia and Singapore in the Bay of Bengal. This was the first time a joint exercise of this scale involving 25 vessels was conducted. The exercise was previously a bilateral India-US engagement that was expanded for the first time. India's left parties that have criticized Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's government on the India-US civilian nuclear deal had vehemently protested the exercise, seeing it as another sign of the growing closeness between the two countries. At one time, the Indian government was known to have considered postponing or cancelling the exercise, but the Indian Navy put its foot down, saying the logistics involved made any delay impossible. China, which did not officially comment on the exercise, was known to be unhappy over the event as it was being conducted in the Bay of Bengal for the first time. China has been cultivating naval cooperation with Bangladesh and Myanmar to gain access to the Bay of Bengal and has been strengthening military cooperation with Sri Lanka. In June, China had issued a demarque to India, United States, Japan and Australia seeking details about the four-nation meeting, termed a quadrilateral initiative. India and Australia had quickly assured Beijing that security and defense issues did not form part of the meeting's agenda. The U.S. Navy had the largest representation during Malabar 2007 with 13 warships, including the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Nimitz that was protested when it dropped anchor off Chennai in July. The other vessels included the conventionally powered carrier Kitty Hawk, the nuclear submarine Chicago, 2 guided missile cruisers, and 6 guided missile destroyers. 8 warships, including the aircraft carrier INS Virat, represented the Indian Navy. The other warships were the destroyers INS Mysore, INS Rana and INS Ranjit, fleet tanker INS Jyoti and a corvette INS Kuffar, Varanasi Harrier jets and Sea King helicopters, and the Indian Air Force's Jaguar deep penetration strike aircraft were also seen in action. Australia was represented by a frigate and a tanker, Japan by 2 destroyers, and Singapore by a frigate. For the 19th of October 2008 exercise Malabar 08, the 12th of the series, was conducted in the Arabian Sea. The purpose of Malabar 2008 was to promote increased interoperability between the United States and India, with a special emphasis on maritime interdiction, including counter-piracy and counter-terrorism operation. Rear Admiral Anil Chopra, flag officer commanding Western Fleet, noted, "This greatly enhances our two navies' interoperability, which is very important to humanitarian assistance and disaster relief missions, as well as issues of maritime security and piracy." The U.S. Navy was represented by the U.S. Ronald Reagan S. Carrier Strike Group 7. In addition, 1 submarine, U.S. Springfield, and 1 P-3C Orion aircraft also participated in the exercise. Joining Carrier Group 7 were the Fast Combat Support Ship Bridge and the nuclear-powered Fast Attack Submarine Springfield and a P-3C Maritime patrol aircraft. Indian naval units included guided missile destroyers Mumbai and Rana, the guided missile frigates Talwar, Godavari, Brahmaputra, and Betwa, the replenishment tanker Aditya, and a Shishumar-class diesel-electric submarine. The Indian Navy, Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force and U.S. Navy expanded the maritime partnerships during Exercise Malabar 2009, held off the coast of Japan between the 29th of April and the 3rd of May 2009. The features of Exercise Malabar 2009 were: visit board, search and AMP, seizure techniques, surface warfare maneuvers, anti-submarine warfare, gun retraining, air defense. The ships involved from India were INS Mumbai, INS Kanya, INS Ranva and INS Jyoti. The ships from Japan were JDS Kurama and JDS Asayuki. The ships from the U.S. were US Blue Ridge, US Fitzgerald, US Chaffee and the US Seawolf. Ships, submarines and aircraft from the U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet arrived in Goa, India, the 23rd of April to begin Exercise Malabar 2010 hosted by the Indian Navy. The Navy and Indian Navy are natural partners and friends who share a mutual desire to ensure security and stability in this region, said Rear Admiral Kevin M. Donegan, Commander, Battle Force 7th Fleet. A high-end exercise like Malabar strengthens our growing naval relationship and the interoperability between our two professional maritime forces. Training conducted at sea included surface and anti-submarine warfare, coordinated gunnery exercises, air defense, and visit board, search, and seizure drills. Sailors took part in professional exchanges and discussions while at sea and on shore. U.S. Navy personnel participated in a community service project during the port visit to Goa. U.S. forces participating in Malabar included the Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser US Shiloh, Malabar-class guided missile destroyers US Lassen and US Chaffee, Oliver Hazard Perry-class guided missile frigate US Kurtz, Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine US Annapolis, P-3 Orion aircraft, SH-60 helicopters and a Sea, Air and Land Special Forces detachment. 2011 The Malabar series of exercises 2–10 April 2011 were held off the Okinawa coast. India had stopped involving more countries in the exercises after China, in 2007, sent demarches to all the participants of a five-nation naval exercise held in the Bay of Bengal, with the Japanese participation in 2009 raising no political storm. India was once again agreeable to the idea of allowing the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force to participate. Carrier Strike Group 7 participated in Malabar 2011. U.S. naval units initially included the guided missile destroyers Sterett and Stetham, the guided missile frigate Reuben James, and nuclear-powered attack submarine US Santa Fe. Indian naval units included the guided missile destroyers Delhi, Ranva J, and INS Ranva, the corvette INS Kerch, and the replenishment tanker Jyoti. The at-sea portions were conducted in the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Luzon Strait, and east of Okinawa. The exercise's location coincided with the Indian Navy's Western Pacific deployment. Malabar 2011 was designed to advance U.S.-Indian coordination and operational capacity. Exercise events included liaison officer professional exchanges and embarked communications exercises, surface action group exercise operations, formation maneuvering, helicopter cross-deck evolutions, underway replenishments, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief gunnery exercises. Visit, board, search and seizure, maritime strike, air defense, screen exercise and anti-submarine warfare. U.S. and Indian Navy ships ended the exercise on 9 April 2011. 2012 Carrier Strike Group 1 of the U.S. Navy, comprising as Carl Vinson, embarked Carrier Air Wing 17, Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser US Bunker Hill and Malabar-class guided missile destroyer US Alcee participated in the 10-day exercise. Military Sealift Command's Fast Combat Support Ship USNS Bridge also provided support for the exercise. The frigate INS Satpura, destroyers INS Ranva and INS Ranva J and corvette INS Kulish represented the Indian Navy, along with Indian Navy replenishment oiler INS Shakti. The exercise took place in approximately 450 nautical miles of sea in airspace, and offered the opportunity for the U.S. and Indian naval services to conduct communications exercises, surface action group operations, helicopter cross-deck evolutions, and gunnery exercises. The participants split into two SAGs, with Bunker Hill leading one and Satpura leading the other. Carl Vinson and CVW-17 provided air support for the exercise. Indian Navy-US Navy bilateral exercise Malabar 2013 commenced on 5 November 2013 and continued until the 11th of November 2013 in the Bay of Bengal. Events planned during the at-sea phase included professional exchanges and embarkations, communications exercises, surface action group operations, leapfrogs, helicopter cross-deck evolutions, gunnery exercises, visit board search and seizure, and anti-submarine warfare. Participation from the U.S. Navy includes the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer Usma Campbell and a P-3 Orion aircraft. Indian Navy participation includes the indigenously built frigate INS Shivalik, the guided missile destroyer INS Ranvijay, and Tupolev Tu-142 maritime reconnaissance aircraft. 2014 exercise Malabar 2014 commenced on 24 July 2014 at Sasebo Naval Base, Japan. This edition of Malabar was a trilateral one involving the navies of India, Japan and the United States. The exercise involved carrier strike group operations, maritime patrol and reconnaissance operations, anti-piracy operations and visit board, search and seizure operations, search and rescue exercises, helicopter cross-deck landings, underway replenishment, gunnery and anti-submarine warfare exercises, and liaison officer exchange and embarkation. The Indian Navy was represented by INS Ranvijay, INS Shivalik and INS Shakti, two destroyers along with a P-3C Orion and a Shinmawa US-2 were participating from the Japanese Navy. For the U.S. Navy, one submarine, two destroyers, one tanker along with one maritime reconnaissance aircraft participated. One U.S. Navy carrier strike group based on the Nimitz-class carrier USS George Washington joined for the sea phase of the exercise. On 26 January 2015, the U.S. President and Indian Prime Minister agreed, in a joint statement, to upgrade Exercise Malabar. India invited Japan to be a part of exercise, held in the Bay of Bengal. Since 2007, India has only hosted Exercise Malabar when the US and India are the two participating parties. Malabar 2009, 2011, and 2014 all took place off the coast of Japan and included the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces. The exercise was undertaken by the three countries in the Bay of Bengal from 15 October 2015 till 19 October 2015. The Indian Navy was represented by INS Sindhu Raj, INS Ranvijay, INS Shivalik, INS Batwara and INS Shakti. The Japanese Navy sent destroyer JS Fuyuzuki. For the U.S. Navy came the nuclear aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, the USS Normandy, Freedom-class littoral combat ship USS Fort Worth and Los Angeles-class submarine USS City of Corpus Christi.